and we have just gone over some of the My Work information here in our dashboard, and we're going to go into the case that we have created. And if we haven't created one, I get it because we've had some system issues, but hopefully you've created one, a client, and we're going to go through that one because we're going to do an inter-eye assessment with them to kind of go over the information that you need to go over to get that started. And then we're going to go over more of the CFCM process. So I want to go through some of the most important parts of the assessment. Again, you're going to only be doing that when the annual is coming up from DHS. But I will tell you, when we set up and finalize CFCM going live in the next couple of weeks, because we're getting closer to it now, you will then have that case, and there may be an inter-eye assessment that's maybe less than 3 to 6 months away for you to do. So this is our best chance to kind of show you what it entails and kind of go over it on top of the person-centered plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a case that I currently have, and hopefully you guys have one as well. The best way to find it is to use the magnifying glass right here, change this over to participants, and if you know the last name. If you don't, you may know the date of birth, or you may know the case number. So I know my person's name is Album as the last name, and Mitch is his first name. When I go into it, you can see an alert note right here. This is flagging me every time I get in. It tells me some notes. You can do that for each case if you need to remind you on something. As I say, I leave it on there as an example, but this should be something that you've set up over the last week because of our homework. You know, the date of birth of the person, their ethnicity, marital status, where they were referred from, the sex, the race, you know, all the different components of the person. I've been manipulating this, so it's not quite accurate right now, but it's good enough to allow me to do what I need to do. The address of the person, any medical information that I have, and any detail has been open to me when I set up the client. If you ever need to add anything else, you could stay on the demographics tab and you go up to edit and you select edit demographics. So as I said, I had to play around a little bit. This person's actually a male and I reset it to a female. I had to fix something on it. So I'm just going to fix that. When I've made my changes, I can go in and close the demographics. It then locks it in for me, and I go back to the same screen I just was at with the multiple tabs. Okay? Anybody have a question? Oh, that may be a flag. Anybody have a question? Okay, I think we're okay. So, all right. That being said, I want you to go over to the open close tab right here. This open close tab right now probably will be blank for you unless you've been playing around and you get a little bit further ahead. We need to set up an open close. So you're going to go to the file and add the open close. All right. When you do that, this is the one I have open. You have to have an open close open for each client in order to do work on the client. So that open close needs to be open by you. If you cannot do it, let me know. If you can do it, I can also go into the case. Sometimes with the case manager function, it doesn't work, but I'm happy to help you if you can't. But again, you're going to go into file, add open close. We're going to add an open close to this client. So give yourself a minute, take a peek, and open it up, and let's take a look and see where you're at. The EAD assessment is going to be what you select if you're able to do that. That is all the testing that you're going to do with the client. That is the inter-eye and all the other pieces of it. I wouldn't worry so much about the dates right now. They'll come into play a little bit later, but also then put yourself in as the primary worker, select the lookup, and then type in your last name. And when you do that, it'll search, it'll find your last name, and it'll put it in. You select it, and then it will come up with the primary worker as you. Okay? You won't be doing this, as I say, until future assessments done through the inter-eye, but it is good to know how it works. Okay? Anybody having trouble getting there? Anybody having trouble putting this in?
We are.
You are. Okay. What are you getting that's causing you an issue?
It's under participants. And then when you get on participants, where do you click?
Okay, so you're back here. You get these
Yep.
tabs right here. Open, close tab is the one you need.
No, I don't have those tabs. Where are those tabs?
Yeah, so she's under participants, but she doesn't see those tabs.
Oh, she's okay. She hasn't selected the participant yet, right?
She did. She's under it. We don't see those tabs
Oh, right,
there.
here they
You
are.
got
Is
it?
it right?
Okay, you close.
Does she have the client right here on the left-hand side that says the name of the client?
Yep.
All right. Are you good? Well, I'm open.
We'll work with you.
Open to it. Yeah. Okay, so now open close, okay.
Yeah, open, close, go to file, go to add open, close, and then it will show you a screen that looks just like this.
So when I go to file, where do you see open close? It just gives me print.
Okay. Okay, so you don't have that option. What's the name of the client that you have? What's your client's last name?
Simeone.
You got to spell it for me.
Do I really? Simeone.
Okay, Simone. Sorry. Okay, got it. Okay, so Roseanne. Okay, that's great. So an open close here. I'm going to put it in for you, and I'm going to have you do it.
So none of us have that option.
Nobody has that option. Some people should
When you go to
have,
file,
but
it's just happens to print.
okay. Okay. It says you have one. So you already have one. It's under pending. So you go to open close. You should have one here called pending.
Yep.
Can you see that one?
Yep.
If you select it, because again, if you already have one, change the pending over to EAD assessment. That's all you should need to do. You already did the work. You just didn't realize you did it. Change it to EAD. Yeah, EAD assessment under the status, and then go to save and close the open close. So folks, you may have already done this and not noticed. And that's why I say, if you didn't have it, you'd go to new. If you did have it, then it would be here underneath under open close. So does everybody get that? And can everybody get through that? Let me know. Okay, Stephanie?
So
Yes, so I was able to get to the open close window. However, I don't have the drop down to change.
Do you have this right here? Do you have an open close showing up below, even if the status is different?
Yes.
Okay,
It's still
so
pending.
yeah, so open it up. When you click on it, open it up, change the status to EAD assessment.
Oh, this is exactly, when you open that window, I don't have the drop down with the possibility to change it.
Oh, so you're in this window right now and you don't have under status it right here under, you don't have these selections under status?
No.
Okay. What's the name of the client that you have?
Rose Petals.
Pedals? Petals?
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look. Okay, I don't have Rose Petals. You may have selected confidential. Let me go in and see if I can fix that. So there is a setting in the demographic that's confidential. If you select confidential, only you can see it and nobody from your team can see it. So it becomes a very difficult thing. So you don't have to select that. And that way it makes it a lot easier for you. Okay, is it Petals?
Tals. Yeah, Tals.
Okay.
Rose.
Got it. Okay, let's see.
Can't even get in.
There it is. Okay, let's see what Rose has. So Rose has a pending LTSS, and I'm going to change it to. Okay, so we're good. Okay, so I fixed that. Let me just change my status so I can fix this. Always something. All righty, and we'll get it. Little manipulation here. We'll fix it, and we'll get Rose where she needs. So you did right. You put this in as pending, but you're saying when you went into this, you couldn't. Yeah. That's interesting. Okay. It's fixed. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna try again and see if it's giving me the drop down.
All right. Anali, are you having the same problem?
So I went back.
Yep.
Now I just saw that it was changed, but I still do not have the option to change if I would
That's
like
okay.
to.
Yep. Once
Okay.
you changed it once, you won't have that option. But you should be all set. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
I don't even have a client. I don't see it. I don't know if
Oh, right. Remember, you weren't able to log in, so you've got to
Oh,
create a
okay.
client, right? So we got to create a new client. Let me give you one real quick.
Okay,
You're gonna have to build one, but I'll set one up for you. So any ideas, any names that you want to use for a client? That way it becomes yours.
Carlos.
Okay. All right. Smith. Let's put a nice one, Carlos Smith. That way it'd be easy. Put that in. You get it?
It's gonna be a drop down.
Yeah, I know. Can you let him know there's no drop down? Click on that.
No,
All right, just let me assign it to you so that way I can add up. I'm just gonna put in some quick date of births.
Click one tab to another and it changed for her.
But I still don't have the drop down though. Which is the problem? We don't have it.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, so we
maybe.
got Carlos Smith.
Well, they wish higher. Higher. Or they would be a little better.
Right now, but one second.
It should, to change that.
Turn that comment, then should be here.
Assessment. And be demographic.
I don't know what, no, you have to go
Okay.
on here.
All right, so Anela, you're gonna have that. So if you search under your magnifying glass for Carlos Smith, you'll have it. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Then what
Okay,
they have-
anybody else having trouble?
Yeah, we all are.
Yeah,
Yeah, but me.
Pending.
All right, guys.
All
All right,
And then
let's figure this out. So if you folks can raise your hand so I can kind of see who's doing what. I'm gonna mute because there's a lot of background noise coming up. Just raise your hand and we'll ask one person at a time. All right, so at TZ, what kind of issue are you having?
Mine just says pending. It doesn't give me an option to change it.
Okay, what's the name of your of the client that you're working with? Last
Joe
name? Yep.
Vasquez, VASQUEZ.
Easy. Great. Thanks. Yep. Got it. All right. Let's fix that. You may sometimes the thing is this access point doesn't usually give you the ability to do that, but we're going to change it in order to fix it. Okay. Good.
Okay, thank
Got
you.
that done. Sure. All right. Renee, are you having the same problem? Oh, Renee.
So under file, I only have print. I don't see
Sure. What's the name of the
anything
person?
else.
Last name.
Last name is Jupiter.
Spell it.
JUPITER.
Oh, Jupiter. Got it. Okay, that may be set up a different way. Let me go down and find it. Still nothing by Jupiter. What's the, do you have a case number there at the top of the,
I see 10521.
that's what I'm looking for. Okay, hang on a second.
Benedito.
10521. Okay, there we go. Oh, okay. Great, got it. This isn't it though, right? Joe Olympics? Did you use this one? That's 10521.
No, it's Jupiter Benedito.
Okay, give me the number again one more time. The case number would be in the left-hand corner over here with the name.
All right, so that's gonna be 10521.
It doesn't see how Joe Olympics is 10521. 10521. You're saying yours is also 10521?
10521. Yeah.
That's weird. I don't know why they
Yeah,
both be the
it is.
same.
I know.
Okay, let me just
Oh, no.
search. And only's coming up with Joe. Look, you said Jupiter is the last. What's the last name?
Jupiter.
It is Jupiter. So Jupiter is the last name.
And Benedito is the first name.
Really? Yeah, I'm not getting anything. Can you share your screen for a second just so we can check it? Let me unshare mine.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you see?
Working on it. Oh, it's hard to. Let me just see if I can. There it goes. Wow. Absolutely. That's interesting. Okay. I see it. I don't know how we're going to get to it. I have to find out why it's showing up with that. Absolutely.
Can I choose another participant?
No, I don't
Maybe?
want you to do that. Let's just
Okay.
figure out what's causing this problem, but you're absolutely right with everything you just said. So let me do an advanced search, see if I can say. And the first name is Benito. Benito? One more time.
Benedito. Benedito is
It's hard to see.
Benedito.
Thank you. Well, it's still not getting anything. That is really weird. Oh, you know what? You're in the training. You're in the BHDDH training website. You're not on the. Well, you were at the BHDDH training because you're on the training. You're on the training box. You're not in the sandbox. If you look up on top, see how it says WellSky Dash training. Are you
Yeah.
training? Are you training for BHDDH? Have you been at their training?
Yes, I've been at
That's
their
why.
training.
Yep. So that's a
Okay,
different.
okay, I
That's a
see.
different training, Renee. That's why I was like, wait a second. This is
So
really
maybe
interesting.
that's why I couldn't get in at
Yes, I'm
the
sure that's
beginning.
why you
I don't
couldn't
know
get
if
in.
that might be it.
Yeah, so you're at there's a 4-day training for BHDDH. So those folks, there are different case managers here. So some of them that are going to be working with BHDD cases will have that, and there's just no
Okay.
way around. I know that you're on there, so I can't log into that box right now with everything else going on. So I'm going to have to
Okay, sure.
work with what you have. We'll just work with what you have. Okay.
Okay.
More
All
questions.
right, sounds good. Thank you.
Aneli, you've been waiting. So what can I help you further with? I know we got you to a certain place. What are you having trouble with this time with the things? What do you got?
Oh, I'm all set. I was able. I
Okay.
got it. Thank
All
you.
right, you're welcome. Renee.
Yes.
Okay. We were just talking, right? You're on the training
Yes,
system? Okay,
we were
great.
just talking.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, Roseanne.
Yeah. So.
Oh boy.
That drop down.
Sorry, Roseanne. I'm having trouble understanding.
So Mercedes, Rebecca, and Gisela can't change the status to the
Okay.
EAD assessment?
Yep. Just give me the names of the clients they have. I can fix that.
Mercedes Rodriguez. Their client is Mercedes Rodriguez?
I need the last name. I couldn't hear you.
Yes.
It's Yes, YES.
Rodriguez, R-O-D.
Oh, sorry.
R-O-D-R-I-G-U-E-Z. G-U-E-Z.
Got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay. Mercedes Rodriguez. Sorry. Thank you. Okay. I can quickly fix that. Not a problem. We can do that. Okay. All set. And who else is having trouble?
What's your client? Mine, both of you, which is Francisca Matos. Matos, M-A-T-O-S? Yeah.
Hang on.
So Gisela's client is Matos, M-A-T-O-S.
Okay. Hang on a second. Let me get that. Second. You said Matos, Matos. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, got it. I'll change that. Thank you. And that's Gisela, right? Gisela?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. So I'm going to fix this while I'm in it. So one other thing we got to do, I don't think you guys are going to be able to do it, so I got to do it for you. Bear with me a second. And you said there's one other person too that's having trouble?
Yeah, my client's last name is Squarepants.
Spell it.
SQUAREPANTS.
Oh, okay. Square pants. All right. All one word?
All one word.
Oh, how did that come up? That's hilarious. It literally came up and said square pants. So it must know you. So which SpongeBob? The one that was just born today or the one that was born in
Yes.
86? Today? Brand new. Okay. Got it. Thank you, SpongeBob. All right, let's get this done. Excellent. And we'll get SpongeBob all set. So that's funny. Okay. Yeah, it does have some little bit of AI in it, so it kind of figures some stuff out. So let me fix something. So if everybody can go to the next tab, which is the state agency program, we're going to have to do a little bit of work on this one. So bear with me a minute and we'll get this going. This one also has to be updated. It's probably something you can't do. And this is the tough part. I didn't want to give you too much of an assignment, but sometimes I want to give you more of an assignment because then we got to use our training time to fix this, but we'll do that. So, okay. In the meantime, let's just see if, all right. So those folks, what I'd like you to do is go into the chat and put your name and then put the client. Right? That'll be easier for me to do it than you. So put your name into it and some dashes and then put the client's name. So the client you're working with, after your name, just put it in. I'll come in, I'll make the quick changes for you. But state agencies and programs is what program these people are assigned to. You don't have that access right now. So let me go in real quick and do it. And then I'll get you to the point where we can do the assessment. Again, if you can do it in the chat, that would be great. Pop it into the chat. So for me, I'm putting an example. Okay, that's me. Yep, there we go. Great. That'll work. All right. Go in real quick and do it. I'll put it in. Yep. Yeah, and I know some people have it, just different ones. All right. Carlos. I just have to go in and add this piece. It's just better for me to do it than you guys. So is that open, close? Oh, because it's still pending. You. Here. Get this all worked out. Okay, so far I only have two. So Stephanie and Anili. There are definitely other people though. I know that have folks that, I mean, if I've already done it was the last 3 in a row I did. So I need more people to check in on the chat real quick and put that in so that way I can get you guys set up. Okay. So the program that you're going to be using so we can get this set in. Ready to roll. Okay, who else can I work on? Because you can't get to the next part unless we work together on this. So I need some more. There we go. I need some more people to go into the chat, put their name in, and then put the client that they're working with. That way I can fix this, okay? was logged out and the link in the chat is not working. Oh, sure. Yeah, that wasn't the link in the chat. So, okay, sure. Here's the sandbox link as well if you just need to get it in the sandbox. That link that I gave you is to fix the group error message. That's the link for the sandbox. Yeah, Rebecca, I need yours. Let's see, I need a couple other folks here. Got some folks waiting to come in. It looks like some people got bopped out. I needed Paula, I need yours. Lisbeth, I need yours. Atisi, I need yours. So if you guys can go into the chat and just put in your name of that your name and then the client's name, that would be great.
So Kevin, we got kicked off for a little bit.
Yeah, I saw that. Yep, no problem.
We're back on. What is it that you need in the chat?
In the chat, I need your name and then I need the client that you're making's name. So I put an example for me just because I have to do a little manipulation here to get you to the next spot. And once I do that, I need the link as well. The link is right above it. Maybe Lisbeth, you just got on again, but I'll put that in again. But the link is there this is the link to log in to Sandbox. And please do me a favor, once you get on, bookmark it for yourself so that way you can get on. Okay. But I'm missing like 4 or 5 people's their name, then their client's name, so I can finish you guys up and get you guys into the assessment. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Great. Thank you.
So Kevin, before we got kicked off, I was trying to inform you that I'm not able to get into WellSky yet. It does not allow me, even with the old password.
Okay. You've been able to get on though before, right? Just
I got
today.
on. I made an account for someone. I can't remember the name. They do that last training.
Okay. Yep. Let's get you on then. Are you getting an error that your username and password's not working? Is that what it is?
On the bottom, under login, it says username or password is incorrect.
Okay. Right. Renee, remember, I think Jupiter Benedetto is on the training system, so I can't change that for you. Unless you have it on Rhode Island Sandbox and not in the BHTDH training, I can't change that with you. So, all right, let me go into get you set up. Let's see. All right.
It let me finally.
It did? Let you log in?
Yeah,
Okay.
after a whole hour. We're good.
Sorry to hear that. 300 times the charm, but bookmark it for yourself if you can. So,
Yep.
Okay. So Joe Velasquez for ATC is all set. I still need some other people because I can't, there's still people that haven't responded to me yet in the chat. And that's something I want to just make sure. But as I say, at this point, we can go further. So here's what we're going to do, folks. You're going to be in your client, and your client is a whole bunch of different people. So we're going to go into your client. So in my client here, I have it opened up. I should have an open close that's under EAD assessment. I should have a state agencies and programs, which is EAD referred assessment. Okay, I should have that one. And some people are really having trouble staying logged in. Okay, so that should be there. And now I can go into the assessment. So please make sure under state agencies and programs, you have a current status of referred and a function of assessment. It doesn't matter what date it is or anything like that, but make sure you have that. If you don't, and you can let me know, that would be great. Because this is what we've been trying to work. Yep.
Are you sharing your screen? Because I can't see anything.
Oh, sure. Sorry. Yep. Let me share my screen. Yeah, I wasn't sharing it. Now I am.
Oh,
okay.
So, okay.
Thank you. So you should have your client. Demographics should be filled out. Your open close should be filled out. And it should be EAD assessment. That's what we changed it to. And then state agencies and programs right now, you should have a referred assessment notification in there. If you don't have it, that's what I've been working with 4 or 5 people on the bottom in the chat to get done. So I was doing that for you real quick.
So I need that one. State agencies.
Okay, Roseanne. Yes, Roseanne.
So when I go to the state agencies and programs tab, it has 0, I don't have anything.
then that's what we need to fix. What's the last name of your client again?
Simeone, S-I-M-E-O-N-E.
Yep, got it. No problem. Yep, got it. Okay, that was the one I was waiting for. Okay, no problem. We'll get it. No problem.
And Paula
Okay.
sent you in the chat the name of the
Oh,
client.
great. Thank you, Paula. That's yep. As I
Thank you.
said, those are important to get. So you can't do the inter-I without it, and you need this filled out. That's why it's so important to get this done. But once we get this, I'll show you what it looks like. You're going to finish it outside of us doing the training. So this is going to be homework for you, and you've got to it's a good thing to get used to, and we'll move on. But I at least want to get us started. Let me get the, so let me get that doing here. Voila. So Roseanne, you should have it. You should be all set. Let me check it. And I'm just going to add this one for Paula. Okay. Fix this. Got a couple of fixes. Go.
So what was the point of all of this? So he's making sure that everybody's logged in, everybody can do the drop down. So now we're gonna go and actually work. I mean,
Oh yeah, we're going to be doing work now. So. And this is the thing is the record basically DHS will be doing most of this for you to first get your first assessment, to get your CFCM going when you get your first referral. But in the future, as you own this client, you'll be making updates to the assessments, and you'll need to make sure that all of these 3 tabs are completed and updated and anything else is put in order to do so. And that's why I'm saying it's really important to kind of get used to doing these, because eventually you will be doing what DHS does. Could be as early as 3 months from now. Okay, so we've got a question. Yes, question for Roseanne.
Did you have a question?
Not sure.
No, I think we're all set.
Okay, great. Thank you. And, yeah. Okay, great. Okay. With that said, everybody has this. We're going to go now to the Assessments and Forms tab. Okay. In the Assessments and Forms tab, and I'm going to use Paula's right now real quick because I'm in it. You don't have any assessments done right now. Okay. Eventually, you'll start having a lot of them and you'll start seeing records. In the meantime, and Paula, you do this, not me. You're going to go to File and you're going to go to Add Assessment and Form. Okay. When you do that, you'll have a bunch of selections. Let me change over to mine and I'll show you what you should see and how you should see it. Okay, we go back to this one. I'm in Assessments and Forms. I've got a bunch of them, but I'm going to create a new one. I go up here to File. I go to Add Assessment of Forms, and there is a template that comes out. Okay, one of the things that you're going to look at is this is where all your forms are. Okay, so as you look at the list, one of the most important ones is going to be the contact form. Not going to select it yet. And right now we're going to select the Inter-I 10 with I-codes form. Okay, so select the Inter-I 10 with I-codes. This is the major assessment that every client's clinical eligibility is based on. This will be something that the person-centered plan will run off of. So making sure that this is done and done correctly and up to date will be important. Okay, one of the things I will tell you is that if a person's major daily living changes, okay, if their daily living changes such to a point where now they're maybe they had a stroke, maybe they had some kind of major issue that affects their daily living, your team, the case managers in your agency will be making an update and running a new Inter-I version 10 with I-codes. So it's not something that you won't be doing. That's why I say it's always important in training to get an understanding of how this works. So has everybody gotten to this form and can see it right now on their screen? If anybody has it, raise your hand. Let me know. We'll help you get there. Okay, so everybody's there. So this is important. This is something that is not in any training manual. It's kind of our way of just getting you introduced to this. This is a form that I'm going to assign for homework to get done, but we're going to do a little bit of work on it. I'm just going to show you a couple of things, and then we're going to move on to other things that we need to do. Okay, so participant assessment and form. You're going to go up into this drop down right here, and you're going to select initial. Okay, because right now it's initial. When you probably get this, the initial would already have been done, and you're going to select annual if you have to do it. If there's a change or anything else that's happened to this client, say they've had a stroke or something else, it would be an intermittent or a change. And that means that, again, you're going to get different values. Different values could mean an increase in services, an increase in monies, an increase in assistance. Okay, that's how important this form is. This is our objective means of being able to get everybody the services they need, the eligibility they need, and hopefully some of the monies that they need in a form that has a calculation that creates a matrix to help DHS and any other agency that works with this understand what that person needs. Okay? Anybody have a question so far? All righty. Does anybody need to take, I know we've been on for about an hour. Anybody need to take a 5-minute break and just get ready? I know we've had people jump in, jump out of the system. Are we all good to continue? Anelli, do you need to take a minute?
We're all set here, Kevin.
Okay. We've got somebody with their hand up though. So chat, I'm going to look in the chat. Oh, okay. I've got a hand up. When you're ready, let me know what's cooking and we'll be happy to help you. You have to unmute in order to do that though. Okay, so I'm in here. I'm going to change this right now. It's going to be my first one. Oop, there we go. Go ahead. Get some hands raised. Yep.
I got lost.
Okay.
I went under assessment form, but then I don't know what to do after that.
Right here at the top, click on the arrow here on the right-hand side and select Enter IV10 with iCodes.
Okay, I see it now.
Okay. It's easy. You have a question?
Pick assessment forms. It doesn't really show anything on the bottom.
Under assessments and forms right here on your tabs, do you have this? Can you see this?
No, I can't.
Okay. Where are you? Are you on your client right now and you have the tab assessment and form?
Yeah.
And when you go to assessment and form, go up to file and select add new form.
Add assessment form.
Right. Then select type and go down to the down arrow and you'll see all of these forms. Select the Enter IV10 with iCodes.
Okay, yeah, I got it. Thank you so much.
Great, no problem. Okay, so as I said, this is the main assessment. It will be one that you'll be using from time to time. Definitely not as much as the person-centered plan when you're working, but consider you guys going to take on the load of this client and their workload, you will be doing this. So as I say, if their status starts to change, they have a stroke, they're, let's say, God forbid, they're diagnosed with a critical injury, cancer, dementia, Parkinson's, or something major, that would be where they start having limitations on their activities of daily living. You will need to do a new INTERI in order to update that so that they can get or qualify for more assistance if that's something that they do need. So you'll be getting used to using this. So this is 378 questions. Some of them are because, as I said, the better the demographic is, the more information will be provided for you as part of the package. So we're just going to fill in the top. Everything with a red star is something that's required. You can only save this in draft and you cannot finish it until all the questions are completed. So if I tried to save this from draft to complete and I just tried to force myself, it's going to give me an error. It's going to say, oh, by changing this record, all required fields must be completed. Do I want to continue? I know I can't because it's going to error, so I'm going to say cancel, and it saves it and keeps it in draft. Now, this needs to be saved on a regular basis. So the suggestion is everything that's highlighted here in section 1, once you've completed that, then you go in and you make sure you save it. So go to File and go to Save Assessment and Form. Okay. Once you do that, that starts to lock this in. If you go through the whole assessment and you don't save it and it locks up or it stops working or something else happens, and as you can see, it takes a minute for it to save, or you lose connection, you lose what you've done. So please make sure that each section, the section A through T, that you save it after you've completed each section. Okay. Okay. All right, and I did reset everybody's hands, so if we've got new hands that need to go up and ask questions, please go ahead and do so. So anything, it'd be great if you knew additional information. Name a person responding, if not beneficiary. Let's say you have a client that has dementia, has come on, and they're not really speaking, but their family is the power of attorney guardian, or they have a guardianship set up already, and it's legal guardianship. It's always having to be legal. You can put that person's name and who they are. So if I have an adult child and that child's name is Joe Album, I'll put his name in. Okay. Respondent, the caregiver for the person. Yes, Joe is the child. And how often? Oh, more than 5 days a week. He actually lives with them. Okay. So in this case, I'm filling this information out. Gender for this person is male. There's their birth date. Their status is divorced. Going down the list. Social Security number is required. That's why it's so important, even though it wasn't required in the demographic, it's required in here. Medicaid ID numbers or Medicare number is not required, but the agency provider number, and you may not have one. This may be a hard one. If you need to and you don't have it, you can put in 00. It's not it's required for the form right now. A lot of agencies don't have a number. Some of them do. They have the FEIN number, or they have another identification number for their provider number with the state. You could put that in. It's going to be used more regularly soon, so we're leaving it in there. But the bottom line of it is you've got to put something in it. If you don't have one or don't know of it, put the 00 in. That at least signals everybody that's there. What health insurance do these people have? Maybe they have Medicaid, maybe they don't have Medicare. So you put the one, maybe they have Champus, that kind of situation. The reason for the assessment, this is important. First assessment is just to get the person clinical eligibility. Routine assessment is the yearly annual assessment. Return assessment may mean that I'm returning to it. I haven't completed it yet. I'm returning it. Or number 4, significant change in status. The person now has been diagnosed with dementia. Person's been diagnosed with Parkinson's. Person's been diagnosed with cancer, something like that. And then, which would be great if the person's being discharged, you'd use these 3 right here. Currently, we don't use if at all. Okay. So you'd put one of those in, maybe I'm returning to finish it, or maybe it's my first assessment I'm doing with the client. What's the date of the assessment? It would be today. You could set it any day you want. You can also open this ahead of your appointment with them to make sure any information that you wanted to make sure is there. Okay. And then what is, from the person, what's their expectation? More independent, living could be one. And then the primary goal. With minimal help. It could be one, could be, better movement, could be better transportation, could be a whole bunch of different things. What zip code do they live in as far as their life is concerned? Put the zip code in that they have. Okay. Just gonna kill that background noise again. Oh, we got a hand up. Yes, Roseanne, you have a question?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, maybe I missed it, but what was the return assessment for?
Return assessment is if you're going back into the assessment. If you haven't completed it and you wanted to keep it currently, it's not so important to put that in right now because usually you're going to finish this and it's either going to be the routine assessment or the first assessment or significant change. But if you're in the middle of something and it is a return assessment, let's say that the person, you did everything you could and you completed it, and then you said, "Oh, I missed the but it wasn't as great as I wanted it to be." You can consider it a return assessment, but it's not one that you're going to use hopefully often. Either you've finished it in the first assessment, you finished it yearly in the annual, or there was a significant change. We just had to put that in. They wanted it. Okay.
Yeah, okay, I see. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, residential living status at the time of the assessment. Where are they? Private room, semi-annual assisted living, mental health residence. Normally, could be something there that you do. You're not going to do it if it's in a hospital. You're not going to do it a lot of times if they're completely homeless, but they could change statuses. If they change statuses and they went from living in a private apartment to homeless and now they live on the street more, that could be one that you do. So anything hospitalized or acute facility, you're not going to do these. This will be our MFP team. They'll do that at OHHS. Otherwise, though, you folks could be handling different ones. So put the best answer you can. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be this one. And then who do they live with? They live right now with a child. Person or relative feels that the person would be better off. This will come from that child. Do they feel they'd be better off with somebody else? A lot of times it'll break their heart, but maybe yes, maybe they need to be in some kind of long-term care facility, but they need assistance to get there and they need some money. So this will flag your team and the DHS team to figure out if this person may need to be in MFP, so that way they can be in a more of a care facility and have the monies to do so. And then if not living alone, the person lives with who is their prime most days of the week. Yes. Okay. Now I've done with section A, and that's as far as I want to go to show you. I'm going to save the assessment and form. I'm just going to go over some of the titles of this real quick, just to go over it, but I'm saving it because I just ended section A. So the first section, primary section is done. Section A is done. Let's take a quick look. Section B will be the intake and initial history. Some of this may already be filled out because you did it in the demographics. So this person is white right now. If they're not, it would be different. Their ethnicity is mostly of Spanish or Latino or Hispanic origin. Okay. They definitely could be Black, Native American, American, Indian, or Asian, and also have Hispanic origin. As you can see, we've just changed this because it got a little strange that if the person's not of Hispanic or Spanish origin, yet they're other than, Hispanic, then they wouldn't fit into the racial group and then they wouldn't fit into ethnicity. So we took the requirement away for this. So if they are of a Hispanic or Spanish origin, you definitely have to put the first racial group in, and then you'd put the second racial group in, even if it's not required. That'll help everybody make the best decision on, also knowing what they have, their ethnicity, as well as their racial group. If they don't have an ethnicity at all of anything under Hispanic, Latino, or Spanish origins, you are not required to put anything here. You are required, though, to put racial group, okay? Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay. Your primary language, if they need an interpreter, this will help also set up funding for interpreters or the agency as well, get reimbursement, spend time of the last 5 years in a long-term facility, and then their level of cognition. How well are they able to do things? It'll talk about how they can manage finances, their medications, use of electronic devices, online shopping, recall and memory ability. Can they order, or are they disordered with their tasks or thinking? Do they have a change in mental status? Do they have changes in decision making? Do they have activity issues? Maybe they love playing games with others and then all of a sudden they stopped. So you could go, they involved in the last 3 days, or not involved the last 3 days. So that may be a key to somebody closing things up in their mind, having more issues, maybe some mental health. Section D is communication and vision, their level of communication, how well that they talk. Section E is mood and behavior, anxious, depressed, sad mood, and how that works. Next is their self-reported mood. How are they feeling? You know, you may have the caregiver help with these up above, but also you may need to, you're going to need to talk to them. Have you been depressed this week? A whole, not in the last 3 days. No. Um, the person couldn't respond daily. All of these are key indicators for risks. Okay. And you're going to see in the person-centered plan that there are a lot of risks out there. This is where they're coming from. They're coming from all the symptoms and the behaviors the person is reporting to you, or the family and the person are reporting to you. Psychosocial well-being is in here for section F. How lonely are they? What kind of relationships do they have? What kind of stresses they have? This is the big one, the functional status. They have a cane, a walker, crutch, manual wheelchair, electric wheelchair. How far can they walk? How far and how have they gone out of the residence? And then their level of activity, exercise, self-supported fitness, and then meal preparation all the way down. There's lots of it. Housework, ordinary housework. How big's their house? Do they shop? How well are they doing transportation, either getting on a bus, using their own car, driving, not able to drive? How well do they bathe? And then we have all kinds of, are they independent when they do this? Do they need supervision only? Do they need limited assistance, like guided maneuvering of arms and limbs? Do they need excessive assistance? Do they need maximal assistance? Are they totally dependent upon another? Or they didn't have any activity at all? That one probably isn't the one you're going to be looking at, but as you can see, they're all required with the red star, and you have to put in how many times a day are they bathing and how many days a week are they bathing. Once you do that, and I'll show you a quick example. Let's say this person needs a pretty good amount of assistance, and they bathe at least once a day, 7 days a week. Right now, it calculates how much hours per month is that help going to be needed, and also how many per month totally functional. It then sets a bathing balance, and it sets a functional bathing balance. That money and dollar amount and these hours will go into their plan. This will be how often they need somebody. Maybe they're great in the shower, but they need somebody to help them get in and out of it. So in this case, maybe they need extensive, like weight bearing support. They bath transfer. Let's say they go 5 times a day because they clean themselves up. 7 days a week, and there are limits. You can't go to 99. You can't go to 99. You can only go to 20 on this. There's some medical limits that are on here, so it is watched. So 9 times 7 days a week, all that's put in there. That will be calculated as well. And there are other ones in hygiene and other places. Upper body, lower body dressing, working, walking, locomotion, movement, toilet transfer, toilet use, eating, how well do they eat, how often do they eat, that meal prep was part of it as well. All of those things there. Continence, how well they're able to use the bathroom, diseases and diagnosis that they've been given formally. So all of these pieces are in there to make sure that, understandably, if they have an issue right now, multiple sclerosis, not present, it is the primary diagnosis. It is the present diagnosis receiving treatment. Okay. This is current stay. So they may be in a facility during this treatment. They're monitored, but no active treatment, even though they have the diagnosis, or the diagnosis is present and active treatment requires skilled care on a routine basis. This is where somebody's got to come out to your home, their home, and help them. Okay. Otherwise, they may be taking medication, or they may have a visiting nurse of some sort, minor. The other one would be more major. And then you can see aphasia, cerebral palsy, paraplegia, traumatic brain injury, epilepsy, Down syndrome, possibly autism, other intellectual abilities, heart disease, psychiatric. So it goes into a lot of detail. The good thing about it is we'll use this as a template for all of those services. So we try really hard to get all the detail into this, And for future uses of this, you can copy the responses from the past, update them into a new assessment, and just update the sections that have changed. So once you go through this in the long way, you usually don't have to do it exactly the same way again. You can update from the old version into the new version and just change what the changes had been. Unless the person's totally gone through, you know, some terrible rounds and 80% of this is all going to change, then I probably wouldn't do that. Otherwise, it's called a copy shared response. GI issues, sleep problems, any kind of apnea, dyspnea, fatigue, pain symptoms, self-reported health, tobacco use, uh, muscle tone, nutritional status, what their height and weight is. I mean, it goes into the skin conditions, medications they're taking. As you can see, it does have requirements as to what some of the medications are. Only goes first drug, second drug. If they're on 4 or 5, you don't have to put them all down. Use of cannabis for medical treatments and procedures. And as I say, we keep going down in many different directions. Whose responsibility do they have a legal guardian? Do they have social supports? Do they, what's culturally sensitive to them? Do they keep rituals and traditions very close to heart, so it's important for them? Do they live around people who speak or at least understand the same language? Environmental assessment, anything, how's the home? What's it look like? Your eyes, some of this, of course, you can ask them. Some of this you may have to give notes on. Overall status of the person. If they were in a discharge for a facility, you'd have to put that down, their last residential living status after discharge, their signature, and then at the end, it calculates based upon their needs how much money they're going to get budget-wise. And you also can put in, let's say you're not happy with the maximum here, you want to go to more, you can put in justifications for potentially DHS upping it based upon some of the things that you saw. Person is a hoarder, see lots of things that need organization. Person has some capability to do that, but, would need help to do better organization at the house. Family doesn't live near close by, could use assistance, those kind of things to bring the number up a certain percentage. I mean, it's not going to go up, 50% more than what is already on this form, but this form starts the process and then you help through your asking of questions and information to get the process done. So as I say, this is the back end of all the person-centered plan options for CFCM. And you will not be doing this very often, but there are cases that you will. So I just wanted to give you guys a look at it. I will ask for homework that you do and complete this. Put as much as you can in. After the rationale right here, you are done. When you have completed all the questions that are in red, you'd always save it. So save the assessment in the form and put updates in there. And then you'll change the status from draft over to complete. That'll make sure that you've answered all those questions. It'll go through it. It'll highlight ones that haven't. It'll give you an error list saying that you didn't finish everything when you change that. And then basically you'll go in and change it, finish it, and then you'll save it as a complete. So I'm just going to show you kind of what a complete looks like. It'll be here. Here's my Inter-I 10 with I codes right here, complete. When you finish, it'll show up. It'll be dark. So it's all grayed out. So you can't put anything new in here, but I've completed all the questions, updated everything that needed to be done from soup to nuts, and created my final. Okay. And that's basically the goal of doing this. So again, homework will be right here. So homework. Complete the Inter-I assessment. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. So this homework number 1. After that, then basically the nurses would look at it at DHS. They'll make determinations that the status would be there and the clinically eligible would be there. This completion also gets the initial person-centered plan done. And that's what we're going to work on next. We're actually going to go through that and look at it. I just want to give you a quick idea of what it looks like. That sets up this plan. This is called the person-centered plan. And basically, this is the one that you're going to become most familiar with. Okay. There is plan information on this form that will change. You'll be doing this. This will be an update. This will be part of the procedures. Okay. The form itself looks like this. It's called the person-centered plan. And this is what you're going to be working from more than anything else. Okay. And where to work from it. But basically, it has some general information as to the location that you did the plan in, the date that you did it in, the time that you did it in. As you can see, I was out there yesterday at 11 a.m. I had the client there, Aunt Sally, Uncle Bon, me, and there was a RIPEN rep, Marcy Johnson. Okay. Is this the first one, or is this a revision? I put yes, this is the first one. It's not a revision. And then this is really the most important piece of it that you got to work from. Getting some of that information, either you got it over the phone when you first talk to the person, set up an appointment, or you're getting it as you're sitting with the person right now. That person may not want to talk on the phone very long, or the family wants to talk up to a certain point. And remember what I said, as much as possible, this information needs to be from the client themselves, unless there is a full-blown guardianship that's official, or a power of attorney under, certain circumstances that's enforced. Roseanne, go ahead.
So, are we not able to create a plan unless we finish an assessment?
That is correct. The inter-eye assessment will be done for you before you get this client. But in this circumstance, we're creating everything from scratch, so you get a general idea. You'll already have an inter-eye to work from that'll help you to fill some of this out, but it won't do this work for you. This is the work you're going to have to do either through the phone conversation to set up the appointment, or through sitting down with the client and their family or their friends or their guardian or whatever to get some of this information. So the assessment gets you started, and that's something you shouldn't have to do when you get that referral. In the future, though, you're going to do it, and you could do it quite quickly. So that's why we're trying to do. Let's show you the whole package, even though it's a little bigger than what you may be buying into right now. It's going to be something you're going to be doing sooner than later.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So one of the things that we've worked with a bunch of agencies on, and they'll say, and I'll ask for an example, and they'll say, well, a 93-year-old woman, been with us for 5 to 6 years, doesn't want to talk much, but she'll tell us 3 things. She wants to, keep her appetite, have good food. She wants to be able to go to the bathroom on a regular basis, and she wants to stay in her daughter's home. She doesn't want to go to a nursing home. Other than that, she doesn't want to do anything. And you kind of got a weird situation here that the government has come in and said, we love that everybody wants to be X for the rest of their lives and not have any kind of goals to reach and everything else. But that doesn't really work anymore in a situation where the person is going to be, under this program that's going to kind of have more attention to them with a case manager that's going to check in with them monthly and kind of, work with them if changes happen. So for the 93-year-old person, CFCM may not be the end all be all that, maybe the 55-year-old person would be able to be more amenable to working with a social case manager on a monthly basis. So we are putting, pretty much all clients through it so that they can, they're not making their monthly meetings. They're not giving you much help. They're really kind of shunning away so that maybe they're not the greatest candidate for this. And we know that everybody's always leery when it comes to federal monies, how much they have to do to get it. So you're going to know probably fairly soon into either the phone call or the meeting in person how motivated this person's going to be. And you're going to kind of have to do your best to maybe gauge it to some small goals or maybe some small steps forward for them, even if they're 94 years old and they only want 3 things. So, it could be difficult. Do any of you have anything to share that you're concerned about with getting this information that I can kind of go over with you? Because I think this is a good place for me to ask more than tell, because you folks have all been out there amongst your client base, in your communities, and maybe you can shed some light. Maybe we can work through a couple of these situations to give you some more information. And anything goes. I've had great ones that start from this woman only wants to do X to this woman wants to talk my ear off, and she has like 7 goals that she wants. And how am I going to do that? Because, that's a lot of goals. So anything anybody has that they want to share, an experience they have with a client that maybe they don't have the greatest relationship with, that they worked out to help get information from the client, because I know you've all worked with clients. Anything anybody wants to share? Don't do it all at once now. Come on. You don't want me to pick one, do you?
You guys, are you asking for a goal that one of our clients presented?
Or something, an experience that you've had that, maybe it didn't, you had to really work hard to like talk to them about something. Any kind of experience you've had with a client that you want to share, maybe to say, oh my goodness, how am I going to get this to happen? Or I've got a trick to help my client open up. Anything like that. Any kind of experience you've had.
To obtain a stair climbing wheelchair.
Okay, so you have a person in a wheelchair. How old is that person?
54.
54. Okay, it's 54-year-old person in a wheelchair. How talkative are those people? Do they tell you something that they need or want, or they don't?
Yes, they will tell you something that they need.
Okay. All right. So in that case, I'm sure that they've told you how bad the transportation system is for them and how hard it is to probably get help being transported to an appointment. Would that be a good assumption?
Yes.
Okay. So immediately you can connect with them saying, absolutely, between MTD and the newspaper and the state having issues with their vendors and other things, let's think about that. So what supports they need would be here, and again, required is down here, but good information for you to know is up here. And the more of this that you can get, the better the goals are going to be, and the better you're going to be able to help them when they call back in a week or two and say, you know what, this isn't working, I need help. And you're going to have to go back into the plan and maybe update it to help them do a little bit better on their situation. So again, getting that information. So let's use that example. 54-year-old woman is wheelchair bound. I don't know if she's going to be wheelchair bound for the rest of her life, but maybe she has medical issues right now that she's wheelchair bound. And one of the things she says to everybody that's what's not working for her and what support she needs has to do with transportation. So it could be anything from the driver isn't waiting for me. I end up having to go to Uber myself to get there because the state needs 2 months ahead of time to schedule my doctor's appointments, and they don't show up until the actual appointment time. So I miss that appointment because it's 20 minutes away. Really not good coordination. So all of that information I would absolutely write in what's not working for them and putting in what support it was. Okay. So you could put something like this: transportation. I need to be transported weekly to Dr. Smith in East Providence. I have no other way than through state means to get for my required treatment, something like that. All right. That's good for you to figure it out. It's also good for them to see that you're taking the note about it, because maybe they've called people to complain. It's never gone anywhere. Now you're going to have it on it. Literally, like I call the person-centered plan like a contract. It's kind of the state, you as the agent, you as the case manager saying, this has got major attention. This is something I'm going to stay focused on as your case manager. And this is something we're going to work through to see a couple of rounds of this with everybody to kind of get to the bottom of it. Okay. The supports end up being, of course, a transportation plan. Now, if you wanted to create a transportation plan, the first goal is always going to be required. The second goal on down is not required. But I will tell you something, it's important to have that goal. And the reason why you need that goal is you need a second goal in case they say, I can't do the first goal. If they come back to you in a month and say, I can't do that first goal and I want to cancel it, if you don't put a secondary goal in and you have no goals in the plan, you're going to have to go back and do a whole plan all over again, because the federal requirement is you have to have at least one goal to your person-centered plan. Okay, so always have at least two. That's what I'm trying to say. Have at least two. So one could be maybe on, in this case, family eating more regularly. Maybe the person's been losing weight. Okay. Right now they've lost, let's say the daughter said, Mitch has lost like 25 pounds in the last 3 months. He's losing 3 pounds, 2 pounds, 3 pounds every couple of weeks. He won't eat on a regular basis. Okay. This priority, if he keeps losing weight, he's going to go in the nursing home. They're going to have to give him IVs. There are going to be other things involved. Some of that stuff they can't do at home. He's going to end up leaving he wants to stay home. He's going to be leaving his home to get treatment. So maybe this is the most important one. So right now I'll rank it number 1. And maybe the biggest issue is that the daughter says, listen, I leave at 9 o'clock every morning. I'm back home at 5. I put breakfast out for him. He doesn't eat it. I leave lunch for him, doesn't eat it. And by dinner time, there's already 2 meals that are just sitting there every day that I have to throw in the garbage. Okay. So maybe we get a little buy-in from this, in my example, Mitch, and we say, I need, a deal. And Mitch will say, this is in Mitch's words right here. I want to eat more. I want to be regular, and I want to gain weight over losing it. Okay. That's something that he said. That's like his quote. Okay. He's making this number 1 and everybody else is, because if he keeps losing weight, he's going to the hospital. And then what's the objective? Objectives need to be what they call measurable and observable. If they're not, you will get it kicked back by the Department of Human Services for not being something that they can be considered measured and something that can be considered seen. Okay. The best way to get both of them is to set a detail on the goal that basically you can watch and you can measure. Okay. You may have to put a little chart, or the family may have to have a chart as to how many meals every day he ate. Okay. It also may be something about a family meal time, because that's a good way to have the family see that he eats as well. Now, maybe the family gets together and they eat in the morning between 7:30 and 8:30, and then of course they eat at 5:30 at night. On a regular basis, the family gets together to eat. That may work out. Maybe on the weekends they don't do that, but during the week they do. And that would be a good thing maybe for this person who loves to sleep late, but needs to have a little push to get up, to eat a nice breakfast, to have nutrition in them, to start the day. Maybe that's what they need. So putting in an objective that Mitch will eat 1 meal per day at family meal times 7 days a week may be the way to go. Maybe it's 5 days a week, depending upon what the family does, because on the weekends they don't do it the same way. Family meal time is at 8:30 a.m. and at 5:30 p.m. So that'd be a way that gets him to the table. Whether he's eating a ton of fruit or not is debatable, but he's physically participating in a meal, and that can be observed and it can be measured. Okay. We're not talking about how much he's eating. We're talking about that he's at the meal time for the family at their meal times. They may change a little bit for him, but they've already done that, and they left food for him and he didn't eat it. So in this case, this objective is considered measurable and observable. The background would be on it is that the family participation needed to track the goal and the meeting goal. They're going to schedule the waking and sleeping may be an issue. So maybe grandpa, this is grandpa album and the kids go in and try to wake him up. I'll get up. Maybe there's 5 alarm clocks going off in his head. Maybe that's not good enough. Maybe we need to figure it out a little bit more, but this is a barrier to meeting the goal. It could be that, Mitch's participation. And then family participation needed to track the goal and the meeting goal. Okay. So everybody's involved. If you're 94 and you don't care, well, then this isn't going to work. But then you're going to go to the hospital in a few months because you've lost 30 or 40 pounds and you're going to need to have treatment and you're not going to be home where you want to. So there's got to be kind of give everybody a little bit of the work on this and give everybody a little bit of the responsibility. And then based upon that and their responsibility, things will be better for them. Okay. Anybody have any questions on that so far? Okay. Action steps. How are we going to do this? How's this going to work out? Breakfast. The family will take Mitch at 8 a.m. They'll wake him up at 8 a.m. daily for breakfast reminder. Okay. And we're going to track it because this is part of getting up. Okay. No, I'm not getting up today. I don't feel like it. Okay. Minus. Okay. Didn't work. Oh, I'm getting up. Yep. Be right there. Here I am ready. Hey, great breakfast. Thank you. The grandson, Bob, album will wake Mitch daily. Daughter Sally, his daughter, Mitch's daughter, put that in. We'll feed him. Mitch's daughter Sally to feed, and the daughter also will track. Okay, so you've handed out a little bit of work. Every morning the grandson's getting ready to go to school. Grandpa's next door in the other room. Hey, Grandpa, it's time. Let's go. We're having great breakfast. Mom's making pancakes. Okay, be right down. Or maybe he has to pop in the room to check on Mitch, on Grandpa. Maybe he does that. Okay, great. Got it done. And Mitch is up. Okay. Then he gets downstairs, and the daughter, Mitch's daughter, Bob's mother, feeds him and tracks it. Okay. All of that will start on a start date. Now, you're putting this in for the first time. You're setting things up. You still need to get approval from DHS to get this started. So if you've done all the work and you're pretty close to wanting to submit this, which is a couple more steps, and we're going to go over those steps, give yourself at least a few days before the start date starts. So, I'm at the 10th. The 21st is probably a little further away. I do 3 or 4 business days from the date that you finish this form, just because it's going to take a couple days for DHS to approve it and send it back. Then from whatever that point is, this is an annual plan. So it's a year. So always take the current year, take a day away from it and add the digit to the year, and that's your 1 year. So from the 21st to the 20th, that's 365 days. The status of the goal is always in progress unless they've met that goal. If Mitch says, oh, I'm doing so great every morning, I'm up, I eat a meal for breakfast, the lunch one, I don't feel like it, I take a nap, I fall asleep, I forget, whatever that answer is, that's fine. And then he eats his dinner. Well, now I've got 2 meals a day. I'm doing great. And if he does that for a certain period of time, maybe you give it a month or maybe 60 days, 2 months, and he's doing great, you would change it to met. That means you would have to put another goal in here and put that through. But in the meantime, you're going to continue in progress unless he refuses and says, absolutely not. I'm not doing this. I don't care what you do. Send me to the hospital. Dare you? Any of these crazy things that sometimes people say when they get really mad. If they're not meeting it after a couple of months, then you're going to have to also go in there and make changes to this. Maybe you bring the amount of meals per day to a half a meal per day, from 1 meal per day. Maybe you have him woken up a couple of times. There's ways to make changes in here to figure this out. But again, it's a resubmission and an update. So trying to get the best goal in for the first one means less changes you will have to make in the future. Getting to know this person to put these goals in will be really important. But as I say, after that first goal, do yourself a favor. Put in at least a second goal. If you want to put in a third one, that's great. You can put up to 4 in. I would just say the more you put in, the harder it's going to get to achieve. So maybe your first one's really solid, your second one's really solid, you're good. Or maybe you go up to a third one, or maybe you do an incremental. You know, this guy will work with us. You know, he likes plans. He wants to be a planner. This is a plan that's going to go on his refrigerator. It's going to go next to his telephone. It's going to go up on his blackboard, wherever it is, but make it something and maybe he'll surprise you. But the bottom line of this is one required and definitely one as a backup, because you don't want to go after the first month having to do it all over again after you just spent, because you've got to make an appointment. You've got to do a contact form. You got to get to the appointment. You got to go in and sit down and interview again. You got to go through all those things. Whereas if you've set up enough in the process, even if he tells you and you've met over the phone in the second month, he says, I can't do it, I'm not doing it. And you've done everything you can to talk him through it. You know that goal 2 still exists, that the plan is still active. You'll change the other one to not met. You'll move forward on this, or maybe, you know, there's other circumstances. Does anybody have any questions on this before we move on? Yes, Roseanne.
Hi, Kevin. So I just have I mean, I know that maybe this isn't the forum to ask the question, because I know you're just training us on the plan and WellSky and all, but you know, we here at Accesspoint are doing conflict-free case management for elders and adults with disabilities. We're not doing the Buddha side. So I'm just wondering how we, you know, how everybody feels about, like, I just don't know how this is going to be received by the families. You know, having them take data and such, and the whole goal situation. Basically, you know, what we're doing, you know, it's community living, and the plans, the goals are pretty much for ADL stuff. So I don't know about that. Do you have any insight into that?
Yeah, I mean, we've worked with a couple of folks that are going to be doing that. As I said, the 94-year-old that only needs 3 things, you know, these kind of things. You're going to have to tell them that if they want a more consistent and constant case management of their family, that these are part of the requirements of doing so. The whole push, it's been 2 different pushes, personal choice and other programs that the state has had. For years, the federal government have been getting complaints. All right. Now, I won't say it's Rhode Island. It's going to be nationwide, that agencies will keep up with their clients, but you know, there's a little bit of an irregularity, or maybe they had programs that they also were case managing in their own unit. This new system is that your group is the case manager, but everybody else outside, all the programs, all the vendors and everything else is managed by you. So for these people to get what we would consider more attention, more care, more continuity, more, you know, understanding, the ability to change providers. That's one of the things they get as a benefit. They're going to have to work with having a goal-centered program. And if they don't like that, and they like it the way that they had, and they don't want to make modifications and stuff, and that's the way that it goes, maybe they are not the best fit for conflict-free case management. And that becomes not something that you're going to sell. You're trying to keep them on case management, but maybe that becomes a bigger discussion with their own family and internally, and says, yeah, we can't do any of this stuff. We're not going to help them. But this could also be done by the PCA. You could have the vendor, you know, write down every day they're coming in. The nurse is coming in every day. She can definitely write an observation, quick note observation on an Excel spreadsheet to say, yes, I see him eat his breakfast. I see him take his pill. I see him do this. I see him do that. So there are ways to kind of work this, that the case manager is going to have to think about the environment that this person's in and how well it's going to work, and come up with the goals that kind of fit the environment that the person's in.
All right. Thank you.
Picked up front, there'll probably be a change or 2 to make here, but the more open that you are to thinking about what you can to make this person's life better, at least statistically, having goals has helped a lot of these people in this circumstance improve. Does that make sense? Roseanne?
Yeah, I just shut you off. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there's no perfect answer for this. And again, one size doesn't fit all. That's why I'm saying there's different things that you're going to find out in that first section. This first section right here under your goals, what's met, what's not met. They may have a ton of negative, or they may not even talk. And you may have to get it from the family or others, depending upon who's their guardian or certified. But the people who are best to tell you are the people that are going to be doing this plan, the family member, if they're part of it, and the client need to be part of that package. And, it may be that the family member falls down on it. It may be that you need to create a backup. Here's a couple of pieces of it. Here's a couple of pieces of it here. Underneath here, and right now they're not required, but we're debating what's important to them, okay? And what's important for them. These are important pieces that add to the goals or add to their overall ability or maybe their want or desire to do some of this little bit of work, a little bit of goal. They want to socialize. Okay. If they don't eat, and you can be clear about this, if they don't eat, they're going in the hospital. It won't take long. You lose 20, 30, 40 pounds. You're not going to be able to stay out amongst your family and socialize and have the family time and everything else. So you're going to be open to whatever they write. But as of month one ends and you're looking at any kind of progress or where they are, you're going to say, Bob, I know you pushed back against your daughter for having, Mitch, against having this food, and you've left the plates and you haven't gotten up and this and that. Could we try? Because let me show you down where it says important to you. Have time with friends and family. You understand that you're 10 pounds away from going into the hospital. I mean, you're 89 pounds or 93 pounds. Are you having trouble breathing? Are there other medical issues? The nurse is, telling me that there are other issues here. You want to stay out of the hospital, right? Oh, I want to stay out of the hospital. And you've got to get it through your mind that some of these goals have to work for you and you have to try. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to keep up with your socialization and your time with your friends and family. So that's when you can turn it around on what information you've gotten to make that point, because they're the ones that have agreed to this. They have to sign this when they're done. When you finish this, unfortunately, right now, we don't have digital signature, but you'll make an appointment with them to follow up in a couple of days. Write this all down, write this all out, and put it in. And then basically bring them back the printed copy. Go over all the information that you put in with them, and then they sign this. And then you scan it in and you put it into their record. Once they do that, that's like it's kind of like a little contract. But I mean, it is their plan that they've agreed to. They may want to change it. They may want to update it. They may want anything. If they do, you've got to go in and make modifications. It is an elastic document, but at least it's a place to start from. After the important to me and for me, then it comes to their choices. Factors considered when helping me choose services. Well, I want to be involved, okay? Definitely in this, but the scope of services I'd like to self-direct. Do they want to self-direct all their Medicaid LTSS services? Do they want to self-direct some of them? Or do they not want to self-direct and have your help as the case manager on these processes? What do they want? What is their living preference? And as you can see, their employment status is required. They may want to work, but they need to be healthier. They may want to maintain the little job they have. Maybe they work at the grocery store, the parts store, the hardware store at certain things. They want to keep their job. They're currently working, but they want to change their job. All of this may give them additional benefits for services in helping them obtain a better position. Okay? Because to be honest with you, a lot of people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s work, and it gives them that purpose, that function, that movement. They may be completely retired, so they don't do that. They don't want it, but that's up to them. Then one of the things that I tell everybody, informal supports, not required, but could be important. Let me give you an example. I'm sitting with the family and Mitch, he's a little, fatigued and he's not eating well and there's other things. The daughter and the family tell me, oh, his brother Sam, who's a year older, comes over on Tuesdays. I leave them some pizza or they get a pizza. Mitch always eats. When Sam's around, they play cards, They have a great time. They talk about, reminisce about the family, do 100 things. He eats a full meal at lunch. He has a drink, he has this, he eats everything else. And then, of course, they take a nap. Sam ends up leaving an hour or so later. He can drive and things like that. But Mitch is so happy to see him and they eat. Okay, well, I'm having a problem with him eating. If I know this situation and I know that there's an informal unpaid support, wouldn't it be nice to know before I have to change this plan so drastically that I've got to go there and make an update? That if Mitch is kind of refusing, but Sam's always keeping him going, there's nothing to say that I couldn't contact Sam and say, Sam, I know you love your brother. And he'll say, of course I do. I'd come over anytime to help him. I said, I'm gonna ask you if you can. He's really having a hard time. He's struggling eating every day but the day that you physically are there. Could you come in on a Thursday, at least to start, and maybe a little bit more here and there, maybe on a Saturday, play some cards with him and get a pizza and eat? He always eats with you. He loves being around you. Or invite him over, or we'll work out some transportation or something like that. So you visit each other or something, because he's functionally eating. He's not complaining about it. He's not giving anybody a hard time when he's with you. That's a connection that you've made based upon a conversation that you've had with the family and an informal support. Doesn't mean you have to go out again for another trip. Doesn't mean you need to make a modification to the plan right now. It's a phone call and updating maybe some of the part of the plan that helps. That may be an option for you as the case manager, and you've gotten it up front. So again, the unrequired means officially you don't have to put this in, but you want to save yourself any kind of issues or a lot of going back and forth to the person's house and handling a large caseload, which you do. This would be something to try to gain that information of any kind of help that you can get that's informal that will help this person on their case. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay. That being said, any services or supports declined, not available, or inaccessible. So if you write yes here, it's going to ask for the service. So they may decline the service. You know, we've got MTD. I don't want MTD. Well, that's what we have available for transportation. I don't have RIPTA. I don't have this, and I don't have Uber. I want Uber. Well, that's great. You want Uber, but unfortunately, we don't have it to give. So we've offered him MTD. You can put the name of the service in here, MTD transport, statewide transport. Maybe they've had a bad experience. I can't blame them. I know they've been in the news a bunch of times. Reason for not using it, declined, inaccessible. Maybe inaccessible, bad experience. Will not use again. So again, if it comes back and there's something, we've tried to offer it, we've gotten a package, maybe you guys have created a provider or something, will not work. Okay, let's find out why. How is this, need being met? So now, what am I going to do? Going with RIPTA, order, transport as a backup. Something like that, and then you figure out and other things that decline. So again, if you start coming up with different details, it may be the type of situation that they're refusing something or inaccessibility or not available, bad experience. You've got to document that. Okay. On top of that, these are my supports if my home and community-based service staff are not available. Always a good thing to have. Not required right now, but if service staff are not available and your home is not available, what are they going to do? This would be another place that you put, Brother Bob. He could get a phone call. What's the backup plan? Who's the phone number? Unpaid or unpaid service. And then if there's a second backup plan, same thing, with crisis and safety plan. Behavior plan you can put down if they have medication they have to take. Maybe they need to take it. If they don't, maybe they, certain things you don't want to have a problem with. But if you fill out the crisis and safety plan and tell them, listen, these are things that you need to know because you can't call your daughter all the time. She is a nurse. She works at the hospital. She can't take a call. So in that case, if there's something that happens and there's nobody around and you have an emergency, keep this next to you. Keep this on the refrigerator. Keep this next to your cell phone. Keep this on the bulletin board. Use this plan for you to be part of your, support package. If they do that, they're more likely to follow this plan from top to bottom than they are to just sit it in a book behind the scenes to only the emergency arises. Okay. So the more you can make this plan usable with them, the better they're going to be able to use it and the more functional it's going to be for them to do it. Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay. So these things are important, and then case manager monitoring. Once a month is required, okay? That could be over the phone. It doesn't have to be in person. Of course, everybody would love 2 or 3 or other, monthly times. That's probably not going to work for how many cases you guys are going to be running, because you're definitely going to be communicating to at least 2 or 3 people a day, every day for the 30 days or so. So once a month is required. You can make it, though, a 4 to 6 week period if you need to. Let's say the person wants to be contacted the second Tuesday of every month. Well, you're in the first Tuesday. So the second Tuesday would be 5 weeks from then, because you wouldn't contact them the following week. So anything within a 4 to 6 week period that you agree upon together as kind of your plan, that's fine. But they have to take the communication and they have to be available for that communication. If they start skipping you, meaning that you have to reschedule and they don't make it and they don't do stuff, that's where the CFCM, which is a voluntary program for them, is going to be too much work for you. And after a certain period of time, I believe after 60 days, the Department of Human Services will want to know from you whether this is working or not. If it's not working, they will try to assist you to reconnect you with that client. But if that doesn't work, that person goes to the Department of Human Services as a client, and you get an open referral slot that you can take on another person that you can take on that wants the service more than they do. Maybe these people want such, constrained terms that this program is to help them and they don't want to take advantage of it. That's going to be outside of your ability to work with them. That's going to be somebody that that the state will take back and that you will get a new person. Okay. It's not going to happen immediately, probably happen in about 60 days. So the best way you can is try to, gauge this person and figure it out. If there's extenuating circumstances, then you'll communicate to your supervisor. Your supervisor will talk to the DHS supervisor, and they'll come up with either assistance or maybe, an alternate plan. But you do your best. You've tried so hard, and the people just are not connecting about this. That's not your issue. That becomes an issue for the state to have to take on, and they'll move back to state information, and they'll still have case management, but it'll probably be a different kind of case management. Okay. But at that point, CFCM case management will be off the table. Anybody have any questions? Okay. So again, going through this and getting an understanding of it is important for you to do. Okay. You're going to do the inter-eye, and then the second thing that you're going to be doing is you're going to be putting in a person-centered plan as your second homework that you're going to be doing. So I'm going to run you through other things as part of kind of like a 0 to 100, but I'm focusing on a couple of key things. So second homework, you're going to have your homework 1 is to complete the inter-eye assessment. Okay. And number 2 is to complete the person-centered plan. Okay. All right. Those are 2 big ones. This one takes about an hour to do. The other one takes about an hour and a half. So that's why I think if you guys can get these done, we'll work through the rest of the stuff. Now, let's show you how to get here. If I've completed it, I can save this anytime I want and keep it in draft. When I finished it and I've done everything, I'll save it first in draft. Hopefully I've saved it a couple of times. That'll be great. Okay. All of the red starred ones are completed. And when I'm done, I'm going to go here and change it to complete. It's going to change all, same thing, all required fields. Am I ready to go? Did I save them? Yes, I did. I'm going to hit OK. It's going to go to the complete status. I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Save and Close Plan Form. Okay. Now it's going to show up as complete. So let's show you how to get to this again. Hopefully you've already gone and followed me there, but we'll make sure. After I've completed the assessment with the Inter-Eye and I've completed it, okay, I can then go into plans, okay, and I will see a plan here that's just set up as an initial that's not complete, okay. If I click on this, I'll come to this multi-tabbed screen right here. Don't worry about this screen for the homework. Go into Plan Forms and open up the Person-Centered Plan Initial and complete this. Then finish it, save it as complete, and that's all you have for homework. All right. We're going to then fill in the rest of the gaps of your information. I'm going to set all of these up as clinically eligible. So you're going to see them in your, you're going to see these forms in your My Work the next time we meet next Thursday. Okay. I'll show you what it looks like when you get there starting, the next time you log in. Probably I'll have this done on Monday. So this will be set up. But let me go and fix this real quick and just put this in. Just save this as clinically eligible. Okay. If I look under My Work right now in CMA Service Provider, see how it shows up clinically eligible right here? That's where you're going to go when you first get the referral. DHS is going to send the referral to your supervisor, and the supervisor then is going to send it to you. When you open this up, see how I see Mitch Album with CareLink? That's the provider. It will be your name or Seven Hills or something else. That'll show up with your name on it here as the worker and the consumer here, and then you open this up, and that's how you start your work. Okay, your CFCM work will start here. So just giving you an idea of how easy it's going to be seen. You're going to see it right here in your My Work under clinically eligible, and then you're going to open it up from there. You're going to change the status to open. You're going to do other things. I'm going to show you how to do that next week when we do this, but that's kind of where we're at so far. So let me just check on how we're doing with time. Just want to make sure we're all good. Yeah, we had set up so we could go till 12 o'clock. Okay. What kind of questions can I answer right now so far? We got about 20 minutes. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Anybody have any questions? I'm sure there are.
I do, Kevin.
Good.
Well, my question is more towards when is the next meeting going to be? Is it going to be next week? And also, are we all supposed to have access to the care plan part of this?
So
Or are we going to have access on Monday?
No, you will not have access on Monday. It's probably going to be another week. We're still waiting for the service codes to get figured out. You also need to have training with Gainwell on the CSM. Amalfi has a gentleman by the name of, let me just check and see who it is. So I want to get you guys scheduled for that training. So let me take a look. I'm going to stop the recording real quick. And stop. Let's